The United Nations has an arm called International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Is this a storefront for the One World Order?
Anytime you see the word covenant, you're dealing with a coven. And a coven is as in witchcraft. And so it's not quite the nice word that people think it is from the covenant structure of the Bible.
Mm.
A covenant is a air jurisdiction contract, basically.
Okay.
And it beats out any other kind of commercial contract. It's like a superior contract. That's why when you have, say, subdivision covenants, where the people in a subdivision have gotten together and they've formed a homeowners association, and they've written rules for what's going to be allowed in their subdivision and what isn't going to be allowed in their subdivision. Those covenant rules overstand state law because they're in a different jurisdiction. They're in the air jurisdiction.
I see.
And in the air jurisdiction, you have elements of conjuring, which, what we think of as witchcraft and spells and, bindings on the soul and transmutations of symbols into fact and fiction. All sorts of weird, arcane things go on in the jurisdiction of the air, because the jurisdiction of the air is basically the realm of ideas, inventions, names, labels, conceptualizations of things like corporations. All of that is taking place in your head. It's not really taking place on the land or the sea, right? It's all stuff that's going on mentally. So the air jurisdiction is where you see patents, trademarks, copyrights, inventions, names of things, all these sorts of things. And covenants are what bind agreements in the air jurisdiction. So when you see covenant, it has kind of a shady meaning. And you can have a sacred covenant because you have a sacred covenant, like God made a covenant with Abraham, right? So that's a sacred covenant in which the realm of the spirit interacts with a man, right? So that was a sacred covenant versus a secular covenant, like the homeowners association. Different kinds of covenants that are occurring in different realms within the air jurisdiction. So you want to stay out of the air jurisdiction as much as you possibly can, because it's very complex. It has a lot of weird stuff in it. And the best thing you can do is just to avoid it like the plague and seize the control of the things that you need out of it.
Right. And just to distinguish the difference between the air jurisdiction and the land jurisdiction, we are real. We are real men, living men and women. Our counties have geographical borders. Our states have geographical borders.
Right. Although, you want to look at this as a continuum from the fact to the fiction. Okay. So you have over here the fact, the living woman. Right next to that, you have the lawful person standing on the land. Then you have a legal person standing on the sea.
Mm-hmm.
And over here, you have another legal person in the air jurisdiction.
Ah, I see.
Okay. And so what that basically equates to is you have you, the living woman, you have your lawful person, which is your proper given name.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have over here an identical legal name that's in the international jurisdiction of the sea.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens when you go out on the high seas and navigable inland waterways and become a trust interest of the Queen.
Okay.
And over here, you have another completely fictional person, the municipal person, which can be any kind of corporation that the Pope and his boys can dream up.
Okay.
I mean, you could have 15 of these things attached to you so far as the municipal government is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be a transmitting utility, it could be a cestacate trust, it could be a public charitable trust, it could be a LLC, a PLC. What we're seeing is that they're trying to set up an LLC system, a limited liability corporation in your name. And that's what they're trying to do now.
That's their newest special purpose vehicle.
At least one of them is. I mean, there's probably more in the wings. You may even have a cooperative named after you, or a foundation, or God only knows what. I would suspect that they're going to try for a foundation because that allows them to lock down the slush funds that they've created.
I see. Interesting. Well, we'll have to watch and see what happens.
A lot of the people watching this probably don't realize this, but a foundation is like a dead-end receiver.
Okay.
Okay. All the money goes in, and it's
go anywhere.
It's consolidated in that foundation.
Gotcha.
And there's the foundation doesn't do business per se. The foundation takes in money, and the foundation gives out money for the purposes that the foundation is established for, and that's that.
Gotcha. Interesting. But just because the municipal corporation is liquidated, the municipal jurisdiction doesn't just poof disappear.
Oh, no, the municipal jurisdiction is still there. That's one of the things that I struggle with people thinking, oh, well, all these evil courts are going to go away. No, these evil courts are going to still be there. They're just going to be operating in the proper way in their proper jurisdiction, and they're going to be addressing persons instead of people. And those persons are going to have actual maritime contracts. They're not going to be Joe Average from Flatline, Kansas, who never saw anything maritime in his life.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I hope that helps clarify.
Learn how to become an American state national or American state citizen by navigating to www.theamericanstatesassembly.net. Links to Anna's articles and resources can be found in the video description box. Thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting.